right, so I think we're ready to start. So thank you for joining. My name is Abby. I am the College Outreach Coordinator and Newsletter Editor at Biodiversity for Livable Climate. And today I am super excited to have Chloe here. Chloe is a member of the Roots and Shoots National Youth Leadership Council. Roots and Shoots is an organization started by Jane Goodall. It's a program with the Jane Goodall Institute, and the mission of Roots and Shoots is to empower young people to create positive change in their communities. And Chloe is an excellent example of this. She's done so many amazing projects in her community. And today she's going to join us and share a little bit about her work, her journey with Roots and Shoots, and also her native plant garden project that she started that is super inspiring. So thank you for joining us, Chloe.
Thank you so much for having me, Abby.
Um, would you like to start just by giving an introduction to what Roots and Shoots is for anyone who's unfamiliar with it?
Yeah, sure. So I guess elaborating a little bit on the amazing explanation that you just gave, Roots and Shoots was an organization founded by Dr. Jane Goodall in Tanzania in 1991, and since then it's grown to be an international organization, and its goal is to empower youth to create change in their communities, basically connecting people who want to do good and giving them the tools to take action to protect people, the animals, and the environment. And it's just a really wonderful community to be part of, and I'm so excited to be sharing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Um, how did your journey with Roots and Shoots start? Like, how did you get involved with Roots and Shoots?
Yeah, sure. Actually, my journey with Biodiversity started when I was in sixth grade. I read a biography of Dr. Jane, and I was really inspired by the work that she was doing, particularly how she was so focused on spreading a message of hope. And I was really inspired to make an impact in my own community. When I entered high school, I started a Roots and Shoots chapter, and I was able to gather together another group of people who were also really passionate about the environment, about making change in the community. And from there, I joined the NYLC because I wanted to connect with more people across the country who are also doing amazing things. And everyone on the council is super inspiring. I really loved working with them, and it's really made me realize that um, we can do a lot more than I ever thought possible by working together.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. And yeah, thank you for sharing that as well. Roots and Shoots is such an incredible organization, especially for young people. Like you mentioned, there's this aspect of community where young people can really be supported by each other and can learn from each other within the organization. And that is one of the things that is my favorite thing about Roots and Shoots, is that that collaboration aspect is really awesome. Um, One of the questions I wanted to ask you is, so Roots and Shoots has a kind of list of compassionate leadership traits. I think there are about 9 traits that youth leaders can identify with, and it's really helpful for kind of identifying strengths and things to work on within your leadership style. And I was wondering if you'd be willing to share which maybe 1 or 2 compassionate youth leadership traits that you most identify with.
Yeah. Um, I think a big one that I really identify with is acts with a purpose. I think this is a really important compassionate leadership trait because um, I guess people's motivations or the goals for like the things that they do, it's really driven by what impact they want to make. Especially for me, I feel like I really hope that the work that I'm doing is something that is meaningful to me and something that um, contributes to my life's purpose. And I really hope that for all the compassionate leaders out there, they have a purpose or something that they're working towards. Another thing that I think is really important is communicates and collaborates openly. Um, it's I think a lot of the times people think that being a leader is being the one who stands out from the crowd, who takes charge of everything and tells people what to do. But I think it's really important that a compassionate leader is someone who kind of brings everyone together, who is able to lead by example um, and really be one of the people who's going forward with everyone else, um, and not just taking like a separate stance.
That is extremely well put, and a super important point to make. And I think that kind of transitions to my next question for you, which is I'm going to ask you to share a little bit about your native plant garden project. And I think both of those skills, at least from what I've heard about your plant garden project, both of those compassionate leadership traits that you just mentioned, you had to utilize for that project. So could you share a little bit about, yeah, what the project was and how it went and maybe where it is today?
Of course, yeah. So this is a project that I am really proud of. Something that was started by my Roots and Shoots organization last year. Um, Basically, we had identified a plot of land next to our school that was actually part of a public park, but it wasn't being managed. It was really overgrown with invasive plants. It was a space of land that a lot of people walked by, um, but because of how unmanaged it was, people weren't really able to appreciate it. Um, so what we did was take that land, remove like the invasive plants, um, all of the vines and foliage that was there that wasn't really contributing anything to the environment, and we replaced that with native species, which would help pollinators, would help people, and really made the space into a garden that looked nice. It was a space for people to come and learn about the different plants that we have, why it's important to conserve native biodiversity, and just a space for students and everyone um, in the community to be able to enjoy. So we started the project in the winter. We started with taking all the existing plant growth, consulting with like native plant experts in the area to figure out what's the best way to create a native plant garden. Um, and then after several months of just clearing away all of the overgrowth that was there, we got a lot of native plants from local nurseries, from native plant sales, and we just gathered together a bunch of students who were really interested in, who wanted to be involved in the project, and we started planting. And today, the garden is still being run by the people at my high school who are part of the Roots and Shoots organization, and it's been growing, it's been thriving. I still get updates of different pollinators, different native species that have been spotted at the garden, and it's really wonderful to see that it's still going on, that it's really become a positive space in our community.
Yeah, I'm really blown away by this project. First of all, because of the intention and thought that went into it, the amount of planning, but also similar to what a comment somebody submitted says, like you took, this opportunity to take a situation that could be improved and you actually did it, and now it's a sustainable project, and that is absolutely incredible, especially within a high school. So you're in college now, but as a high school student, juggling classes and extracurriculars and everything and still being able to do that and lead a really effective community project is super impressive and awesome. Um, so one of the things I was wondering about is how did you get interested in starting that particular project? Like, where did your interest in native plants and biodiversity start?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say the native plant garden was always something that I wanted to do, but I was a bit scared to start it, like when I was first starting out with Roots and Shoots, because it seemed like a very daunting project. It required a lot of planning, a lot of um, involvement, a lot of coordination with administration and things like that. Um, but what really motivated me to start it was just gaining more experience doing projects, and also seeing that there was an overwhelming need to have a space, an outdoor space for people to go to really appreciate nature. Also, I saw that there was an opportunity to um, really advance the amount of like science education we were doing at our school. Um, Talking with my biology teacher and seeing that um, it would really help to have a space where people could actually go out there and learn about all the different things that are happening within our own community, that so many people weren't aware of. Um, and just knowing that I was able to find the tools and resources to pull together people, that people were willing to join the project, that was really what motivated me to just go for it.
That's awesome. I love how it's able to serve as a tool for classes and for people to be able to learn hands on, like you said, about what's happening in the community. That is a super important thing. So it's wonderful that your garden was able to serve that purpose. Um, Also, before I ask my next question to you, I just wanted to say to anybody who's watching, if you have any questions, you can put them in the comment section, and afterwards we will scroll through and see if anybody has any questions and answer them. But my next question for you is, so as an environmentalist and an activist, you know, you learn a lot about things like biodiversity loss, climate change, and there's a lot of, around any environmental issues, there are a lot of sometimes negative emotions, like, depression or anxiety and things like that. I was wondering how you kind of work through that and how you maintain a sense of hope and a motivation to keep working on these projects amidst all of that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that a lot of people struggle when working in this space, and I too have had to do a lot of soul searching in that respect. Um, but I think what the conclusion that I've arrived at is that um, there is hope, that the things that we are doing, they matter, and that no matter how big or small the impact that you make is, what matters is that you care, that you're fighting for what you believe in, and that even if you make a small change in your own community, it still is something. Um, and if everyone does that, if everyone makes a small change in their communities, then we can have global, far-reaching impacts. Um, and I think just being able to keep sight of that in the end, our individual actions do matter, is something really important.
I completely agree with you, and that's such an important thing to remember. That every action that we take has an impact, and like Dr. Jane says, we can choose what kind of an impact we want to make every single day. Um, so there's a question in the chat. Somebody asked, "How do I nurture a passion like this?" Um, and maybe if you'd like to clarify in the chat too, maybe if you're looking for any specific advice. But Chloe, do you have any advice on how to nurture a passion and maybe bring about change through it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, I guess I don't have like a specific origin story for like where my passion started. I've always really been interested in the environment, in um, doing good for the world. But I'd say that for everyone out there, um, the first thing to do is just think about what matters to you, what makes you happy, what makes you excited, and what you want to preserve for other people to experience and enjoy. There are so many different things in the world that are really valuable, and so many issues where people are working to create change. Um, so I think that everyone has something that they care a lot about. So just thinking about what makes you happy, what do you think will how would you want to change the world, basically. um, and then from there, once you have something, um, all you have to do is go out and do your best to take as much action as you can in that.
Yeah, good. Yay. That was helpful. And thank you for that, Chloe. I think also action wise, a few things, just resources that might be helpful are like here at Bio for Climate, we have a plethora of resources on our website. I've been going through them ever since last summer, and I am always intrigued and amazed by the information that find. And we also have opportunities to get involved, like volunteering and internships, things like that. And also, Chloe, if you want to share, Roots and Shoots has also ways to get involved and make change in your community. Do you want to share a little bit about kind of what opportunities are there too?
Yeah. So on the Roots and Shoots website, there are a lot of different online tools, from like one-click actions to challenges to other projects that Roots and Shoots groups like across the nation have done. Um, so there are a lot of like different materials, different things that you can look through. If you're trying to start your own project, if you just want to learn more about what other people have been doing, um, it's really great to be able to see those stories and also learn from how other people have done their projects, so you can get inspiration, and also be more informed about how you can make an effective project.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And is there any cost to joining Roots and Shoots?
There is none. Anyone can join.
Awesome. I think there's a sign up button on the homepage of the website. And yeah, we also have a newsletter through Bio for Climate, which is also on our website on the homepage that you can sign up for. And we send out opportunities to get involved with events and newsletters with more information about things that are happening in the community. So yeah, once you find a way to kind of nurture your passion and figure out what matters most to you, like Chloe was saying, there are also a lot of opportunities to get involved within these two organizations, and I'm sure many other groups like in your community as well. Um, yeah, so my last question for you, Chloe, just to kind of close this out and wrap it together, is what inspires you? Like, where do you get your source of inspiration?
Mm-hmm. I think my biggest source of inspiration is just the people around me. I feel like there are so many people around the world who are fighting to create change. Young people, people of all ages, people from every nation. It's really, I love hearing stories about people who are working in their own communities, people who have a vision of a better world, and who are trying to do something about it. And it gives me a lot of hope. It gives me a lot of inspiration to know that there are so many people who are passionate about what they do, um, and that we're not alone. You know, there are so many people who are trying to make change, and no matter um, no matter how small, no matter how far your own impact reaches, um, there just there's so many people who can fight alongside you.
Thank you for sharing that. That was very, very eloquently put. And I love how you get your source of inspiration from other people as well, people doing work in their communities. And thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing about your reasons for hope and activism and your native plant garden, which is absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for joining and sharing about that today. I'm yeah, I'm very grateful for you.
Thank you so much, Abby. It was really lovely talking to you.
Have a great day, everyone.